Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of Growing Out Loud Season 2. Today, I am joined by Dominic, but before we get into that conversation, first I would like to thank you for the immense support that you have given me thus far. I see your comments on the YouTube channel, I see your comments over on TikTok, because on the TikTok, gang, you guys make me so happy. Oh my goodness. I appreciate every sentiment that you've sent our way, and let's keep the conversations alive and let's keep talking. So now, as we love to say over on Growing Out Loud, this is a podcast for the dreamers who do it and for the dreamers who do it differently. We love to have conversations around building essentially from the ground up. And today I'd like to have an interesting conversation around being a generalist versus being a specialist. And before we get into the conversation, this podcast has been made possible by Brand with DK. Brand with DK is a communications and PR firm where we essentially turn your story and your expertise into income. We build personal brands, we build business brands, and we turn your story into a competitive business advantage. Please find us on LinkedIn at Brand with DK. Our website is Brand with DK as well. You can find and follow me, Daisy Keter, on LinkedIn and other social media platforms. Let's get into it. And for that conversation today, I am joined by Dominic. Hi, Dominic.
Hi, how are you?
I am okay.
Long time coming.
Well, we've been saying we'll do this for a minute now. But you see, at least you're getting the new and improved version of the podcast. True. You see why we say all good things. Wait. Yes. So karibu sana to the set.
So much,
Maybe we should start by telling us and our audiences who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so my name is Dominic. My background is in marketing. But what I do now mostly is product management. So basically we support startups, or I support startups to figure out their product, basically. Yeah.
And aside, what does that mean? It sounds very
so it's
level.
very easy to explain. When you think about how customers and businesses relate together, is you usually interact through your product. So for example, if you have an iPhone, the way you interact with Apple is through the iPhone. So the product is the phone. So basically that's the same thing. You figure out, okay, what is the problem that you're seeing in the market, and how are you going to solve this problem for these customers? And the problem should be big enough that your customers are willing to pay for it, right? So actually not big, but painful enough.
Yeah. Okay. So you say your background is in marketing.
Yes.
And us, when we think product managers, actually we think very much tech. I don't know why there's that.
So I think maybe because of the ecosystem we're in, but products have always existed. The role of product managers was way before. If you think about FMCGs, now they have brand managers. So I think the title has always been depending on the reference, right? So when you look at even in marketing, we usually say the 4 P's of marketing. There's price, place, product, and promotion, right?
Yeah. But now I know you are an avid generalist.
Yes.
And beyond doing being a product manager, I know you also run a production company as well.
Yes.
Please tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I run a media and production company called LWKY, so LWKY. Basically what we do is we're giving a platform to creatives. So we have 3 formats. So one is music videos. 2, we do like mic sessions, whereby it's just it could be a freestyle, could be a song just on a microphone. And then the 3rd one is ideally just mixes. DJ mixes, yeah.
Wait, what does mic sessions again? Like what?
Like think of like colors. Like colors. You've seen colors.
Yes, colors.
So
they show. Yes.
Yeah. So basically, that's a similar format.
Oh, then now turn that into music videos.
No. So that's a format by itself.
Oh.
Yeah. So where you're having an artist with a mic.
With just the mic.
And then they sing.
Yeah.
And then the music videos now became our flagship product just because we were seeing a lot of people were replicating that colors format. And then every time you have to explain, I have to say like colors. So we kind of felt that maybe we're trying to, be someone else. So why not have a way that's not easy to replicate, which is where music videos come in. Also, funny thing, 90% actually not 90, 50% of the world's content that is watched is music videos.
Really?
Yes. 50, yeah.
Music no videos. Way.
No, serious. So that's why we eventually do it. So numbers don't lie. Actually, we saw this trend. So we had started with the mic sessions.
Yeah.
And then we did the mixes. When we started doing music videos is when we noticed also our numbers were going higher. Yeah.
So walk me through the mixes bit. Is it that do you bring like DJs on set? Or what
So
happens?
what we used to do, we used to have like a live session whereby you invite a crowd. So it's almost like a party.
Yeah.
And then when the DJs are mixing, you record that. So you record the whole experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But you guys tend to be humble. Every person I bring on this seat tends to be very humble about their introductions and the work that they actually do.
Yeah.
So just to paint a picture to our audiences,
Yeah.
who are some of the artists and some of the work you've done under
Low-key.
LWKY?
Yes.
Yes, under LWKY.
So we've worked with quite a couple. We've worked with almost 100 artists.
Yes.
Our last drop was with Chris Kryger. I've done Fena, I've done Wakadinali, Ben Sol, Boutros, Charisma, I did a mic session. So yeah, we have many to mention and a few others.
Yeah.
And we want to grow ourselves. So actually this year, one of the key things we've tried to do is try to look at outside markets.
Yeah.
So the US and ASA.
Ah, nice. And now let me ask you then, how did you even, let's take it back
Okay.
to even your technical background. How did you find yourself in marketing, and at what point did LWKY come into the picture? Just walk me through your journey.
So it's actually been a journey. At the beginning, when I was going into campus, so my dream initially was to do flying as a pilot.
Oh, wow.
So my older sister is a pilot, and actually the one I follow.
Yeah.
So I was gonna go down the same path. However, so KQ used to have a program called Ab Initio that used to sponsor pilots. So anyone who got good grades would apply and could be taken. Initially, you could go straight out of straight out of high school, and then they kind of changed the conditions or the requirements. So you had to have a university degree.
To be a pilot, to go
To go
through
and
the
study.
program.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was one of the conditions that they set to be offered this scholarship, right? So when they had changed, then my folks encouraged me to go to uni first, and then I could do that later. So by the time now, it was more about what are you going to choose to do. So I looked around for other few courses, jumped around, tried to study, and then I did commerce. So commerce was basically the easiest I could do. Also marketing just was the easiest choice to do.
You're looking for the easiest.
The easiest, yeah, because remember, the goal was to do flying. Right?
Yeah.
So you're just looking for something you can easily ace through it.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
So what happened to flying?
So, adulting, when you finish uni, you're doing internships, you're making a bit of money.
Yeah.
And then your peers are also working, and you're
Yeah.
thinking, do I go back to school? So I said, you know what, let me just tag it out, work a bit, and then see. Eventually, I think I realized that maybe I wanted to travel more and not actually
Or fly.
fly as a nini. Along the way, I think I realized that. I don't know if I'm just trying to console myself. But yeah, it's not an easy job, actually. When I look at it, you have to be away for a long time. But for me, I think it was the traveling that I was more passionate about. Yeah.
And did you manage to travel?
Yeah, travel. That's what I'm saying. So I think the traveling thing is what made me, because I knew pilots would travel all the time. So I was looking for a career that would enable me
make you
travel all over the world.
Yeah.
So that was, I think I was more fascinated about that than the actual planes and stuff.
Okay. So you got into marketing straight out of school?
Yeah, so straight off. So when you finish high school, then of course you do courses, computer courses, and then then you just study uni. So Kitambo guys used to have to wait, I think, a year and a half before they go to uni. I think by the time for us, because of private unis one out there, you could easily just start your course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So did an internship in marketing?
Yes.
And then?
And then, so I did it for a while. Then I took a break. I went to do a management course, still in strategy and marketing, and then international management. So after that, then is when now I got a role at a company, and one of my bosses actually saw that I had this skill whereby you're able to coordinate different teams. So let's say you have a client brief, and then you're able to piece these things together and coordinate people to achieve that brief, right? And so, he actually told me, you know what, I think you're good at this, and I want you to be doing this. So that's how I was doing our project management, right? So after I did that, and then, of course, now still in a marketing agency, but then you start seeing, tech is coming, because I used to like to understand what trends are going on. So tech then became the big thing. So then I was looking for a way to switch from marketing to tech.
Yeah.
Of course, there were incentives. You could hear salaries were getting higher.
Yeah.
So actually, initially, when digital marketing, social media was coming big, the role of the CMO was being predicted to surpass the CFO. Because usually it used to be CEO, CFO, and then everyone else. So then they were saying CMO could replace, just because distribution was what was driving companies and not the products. or the finance side. And then slowly with tech now becoming more bigger, access to internet, smartphones, the CTO role started becoming higher than now. It became CEO, CTO. Some CTOs become CEOs. So, yeah.
Okay, and take our audiences slow. You know, you're assuming that they know what a CTO and a CMO,
People,
Chief
oh,
Technical
wow.
Officer, such we take it back to the basics.
Yeah,
But yeah,
So, okay, let me just do, CEO, basically Chief Executive Officer,
yes,
CTO, Chief Technical Officer,
yeah.
or Technology Officer, depending on what the company is. CFO, Chief Financial Officer, yeah.
And you know, especially now that you know you run the production company as well, you find that a lot of creatives tend to really disregard marketing and
Yes.
distribution. Like they focus so much on producing the actual content, whatever format that is. And then now by the time they're done, even when they're setting aside budgets, and I've come to appreciate even in like in the film industry and all of that, they sort of treat marketing and distribution as an extra, you know, ile ya sasa, maybe let's go now and borrow. We give it like 10%. It's not really thought out. And then now when you get to marketing, now when you get to the distribution bit, you're like, so how are we supposed to go about this?
Yeah,
You
true.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a very huge misconception. I think, and that's why you separate people who understand business and people who are only understand on the, let's say, production or manufacturing side. Because
Yes.
it's either way, as I mentioned, distribution nowadays is the moat, right? How far do you get to people? How do you... So when you talk about film, like the Barbie movie, I think they spent more money on marketing than how much it cost them to actually
do
produce
production.
to produce the movie itself. So
Yeah.
I think those kind of, and you can see the kind of returns that they have, because you know you have to make people aware, especially now people are seeing ads everywhere. How do you stand out? It's just through paid marketing. Yeah.
And it actually reminds me of a conversation we were having just this Friday. And I was speaking to one guy, his name is Elvis, and he sells courses, online courses. So he's a creator, and as part of the services and the products that he has are courses. So he was telling me, Daisy, you just simply look at it as biashara. Literally, you invest 1,000 in ads, and you get sales worth 5K. You'd never see such kind of returns anywhere else, you see. And now I think for us, we're trying to see, even as creatives, for example, and educators, how we can earn from that model. And a huge part of it is figuring out marketing and setting aside budgets for that. I think even for me personally, it's a lesson that I'm now figuring out over time, because even I suffer from the same thing. I'll focus so much on my on the project or the products that I'm working on. Say this podcast, for example, production, we get people to come, and then once we have it produced, I'm like, oh wow, there's distribution that I need to think about as well. And if you don't do a good job with distribution, you've basically done nothing. You have a good product and no one knows about it. You know? Yeah. But anyway, back to our conversation.
Maybe just to touch on something, like even for creatives, since I'm in the industry, let me just touch on this.
Yeah.
So for example, the song Calm Down by Rema. So I saw an interview, Don Jazzy was saying they spent $4 to $6 million promoting that one song.
Wow.
But you can see the returns, right?
Yes.
So it becomes a way that, and I hope creatives and musicians, artists, whoever, should really focus on that, because that's where the return is. That's how you get to reach wider audiences. Of course, marketing has different aspects, and you can just need to touch on all of this. So for us music, our creatives are also our influencers, you know, musicians are mega stars. So they also help promote, but it doesn't end there. So you'll have to do paid marketing. You have to look at, okay, people who talk about music, curators, you know, you still have to share with them or make sure it gets to them. And then so at least you're able to kind of spread your roots and get to the right people.
Okay. Actually, just to ask now, the expert himself, for us creatives, Kenyan creatives, for example, how can you get our work to global markets? How can you get exposure to, you know, Africans and beyond Africa to global audiences?
Global audiences. I always say, like, as a Kenyan, we have a very huge Kenyan diaspora, right? So I feel like if you can make your content be relatable to someone on that side, then I believe that's how fast you scale, right? Let's using like the Jerry music as an example, since I'm in the music industry as well. Is that you see for them Afrobeats was growing because they had those diaspora guys listening to it, playing in the clubs. And slowly and slowly it starts getting to, because they're already that side. So they request in the clubs, radios will start playing it just because there's a big audience there that's listening to that music. So I think for creatives the same. You can always create content that's relatable to anyone. So for example, a food creator, you can see someone like Ombachi, you know, his scale is very huge. And it's just because everyone eats food, right? So it's very easy to then to scale to that. But also there's something called localization, whereby local stars are also going global. So you can also try and figure yourself out. I still think that also you need to be able to define your target audience, because I think people always want to say, okay, I want to be global, but maybe you don't have to attract the global audience.
Yeah.
So you have to understand what are you trying to do, what are you trying to achieve, and then you work backwards. Yeah.
Okay. I hear you. And now back to our conversation on being a generalist.
Yeah.
So last we left you at working on marketing and then
I
sort
did-
of project
Yes,
management.
project management, yeah.
And then how did you find yourself pivoting? And had you already started low-key at that time?
At that time, no. So maybe a bit of background. So where I grew up, so I had my neighbors were kind of in the music, are still in the music industry. So for us, we started realizing that at the time, video was becoming the big thing, right? So the easiest way to promote things, if it was events, we used to do like promo videos. The same way we used to see Tomorrowland, they do the pre-movie and after movie. So we started thinking, okay, instead of just doing posters and photos, why not create videos that are that? So for me, it came to a point where I was like, okay, so video actually has a big traction and a big, advantage or move advantage when you can showcase things, because the eye is where it's catchy. You can sell a lot. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, probably a video is like 3x that. So that's how we started promoting the music, promoting events, promoting shows. And after they became successful, a lot of them blew up. I was like, maybe it's time to start now my own thing.
Also, this time you're under a company?
No, it was really just like individual artists who are just trying to blow up. So of course now you'd be behind the scenes guy.
Oh, you're freelancing?
Not really freelancing. You're just supporting your boys. Let me say that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Were you making money out of it yourself?
No, I wasn't really. That wasn't my dream, but you're just supporting your friend. Remember, you're in campus, you're young, you're what, so you're just, like, I remember even the first time I got into, let's say, the entertainment industry was more around in high school. So we did an event, and it was very successful, and, one of the key things first we did was, and I'm saying still marketing, was the DJs. At the time, DJs used to be a big thing. They were the selling point of an event. So one thing we made sure we did was to book the hot DJs first before anyone else, secure the date. Also, we did it when school has just closed. So high schoolers have just closed. So that becomes the hype that everyone coming. And that's still the same kind of motive that I still use now, is to look at, okay, who's popping? How can we get more people? What should we invest in to ensure that the product is also quality? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you shoot, whatever, product is what will sell. A quality product will always sell itself.
Yeah. Okay.
So still generalist. So I believe as a generalist, there's nothing like generalist versus specialist, because those two roles require different things. A specialist is someone who will focus on one thing and do it very well, right? But then a generalist will offer more of leadership. Because then I can have a team of specialists, but I need to be able to manage and coordinate all of these guys. So if you think of a hospital, the CEO will not be the doctor. Okay, they can be a doctor, but they won't be doing day-to-day. But then there's the overall running of the hospital as a business. And that's where generalists come in now.
So for you, then you were like, okay, I have figured out distribution somewhat.
Somewhat, yeah.
And then now it's time for me to go start my own thing, or at least formalize.
So I think it was COVID. So I've always been as I said, I've always been involved in the music industry one way or another, trying to support creatives. So when COVID hit, there were no shows. People couldn't earn money. So I thought about why not just do a platform whereby we can showcase these upcoming artists to the world, right? Because there's many. Just seeing the struggles we had with my neighbors as they were figuring out their journey took long. So it was like, okay, maybe there's a way we can just expose people. That's why you find that. So we're called taste makers. So you're people who almost like A&Rs and the likes, or like blogs, or like, I don't know. And you're the guys who, if you point out and if you showcase people come to you for this kind of thought leadership in a certain industry.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to do. And it's been since 2020. So I think we're in year 6 now.
Yeah. What has your greatest lesson been in this 6 years with regard to production?
So in the music industry, I believe, like any other business, relationships matter the most. Honestly, I don't think we've been where we are without those relationships, because also it's a trust kind of thing. Anytime you're dealing with famous people, they're very skeptical. Everyone is always making demands, so you have to have someone who can either vouch for you or your work speaks for itself.
Yeah.
The best bet is having both.
Yeah. Okay. And is AI changing how you do production?
Production, of course, definitely. Of course, coming up with scripts, mood boards, marketing itself, if you're looking to do stuff like SEO. Yeah, have we used AI in our videos itself? I don't think so.
Not yet.
Not yet, yeah.
And nowadays they're quite popular. Kwanza on TikTok.
Yeah.
You get on TikTok and you find some really nice music and you're like,
Yeah.
"Hey, Jesus, this is AI." Does it scare? Is it something to be scared of?
I think it's more of perception. So you find that, so for example, AI could never depict Africans properly. So
Yes.
if you use it, girls will tell.
Yeah.
But it's getting better, and maybe it's time to utilize it. I think there was also, of course, the issue of IP. It's utilizing someone else's IP and whatever. So it's like, how do you? Where's the middle ground? However, I would not discourage the use of AI. Yeah.
Okay. And as an expert pivoter,
Yeah. Yes.
what are you looking to do now? Or next?
So basically the same thing. So the thing with being a generalist is that you're doing the same thing, offering leadership, and it cuts across every industry, right? So nothing really changed. It's just maybe the work that will change, but the role will always stay the same. Yeah.
You would argue that generalists are visionary leaders are generalists, because ideally, as a visionary, what your work is to dream up and see, like, 5 years from now, this is where I want, say, this company or this product to be at. Then once you come and then you bring the team together, and I think in this case the specialists bring the team together, they get things rolling, then now on to the next big thing. Is that
So there's more.
you'd look
There's
at
more
it?
to it, definitely. Of course, first is you have to, how do you coordinate people and work? How do you seize opportunities, right? So you might know that's the goal, but getting there is not a straight line. So you have to figure out how you guys will work through that. You're looking at things like costs. How do you save time? You think about efficiency. Especially efficiency separates good leaders from bad ones. Emotional intelligence, you're dealing with human beings. How do you sustain these relationships? And yeah, I can say as a few examples.
Okay. And let me take you back to this whole conversation, because you would argue that generalists typically get bored. Actually, you see how they say, you look at someone's CV and they've jumped from job to job.
Yeah.
In 6 months, they've gone to a next job. In the next 6 months, they're at another. In the next 6 months, they're at another one.
Yeah.
Would you say that those are the characteristics of generalists or not?
First, our job market does not allow people to jump 6 months. People are looking for jobs while still in jobs.
Yeah.
So maybe those things are not there anymore. But as well as also 6 months is not enough to do or have an impact. So you find that for project managers like me, I was able to jump a lot just because projects come to an end. So basically, there's no staying for long if the project has come to an end. Products also evolve. So maybe you're supposed to get it to a certain point. Once you hit that milestone, it probably can be a good time to move.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's nothing. So the jumping also depends, right? So I'm saying either you're a consultant, either you're doing project management as well. Maybe you've lost your job. Startups die every day. So there are other conditions that make people jump from role to role. So it's not always like a bad thing.
Actually,
I know someone who stayed at a company for so long and he was struggling getting a job, and one of the recruiters gave him feedback, and it's just like, people feel also like you can adapt easily. So you're going to come with the mentality of this one place, because I think that worked that place from when they were intern. So you're already acclimatized to that culture and system. So when you jump into a new place, you can't really show you can adapt. You haven't been tried and tested, for lack of a better word. So yeah, I think it just depends. So that's what I'm saying. If you're a specialist, you really have to be good at something. That means putting in time. When you're a generalist, you can offer your skills in different places without having to compromise on the time.
Yeah. And do you think that sometimes works against or not in your favor? Because someone might look at your skill set and, well, yes, you've been able to achieve a lot in different sectors and industries. It still feels like we lack depth.
Not really. As I mentioned, the role is different, right? So it can be seen as an advantage because someone who's looking for a journalist, as I'm saying, we look at leadership qualities and not actually doing the actual work itself. So then, of course, depth is there. When you have experience in different industries, you learn to pick up some things. So first, if you're going to move to a new place, things like data help you to make the right decisions.
Yeah.
As I'm saying, when you utilize data, because if I'm joining a new place, I need to understand, okay, how are you performing? What are the gaps you've seen? What are the challenges? Once I understand that, and remember, I'm leading experts. These guys probably already there. What they still need is leadership. So you find that and leadership is not being the boss. It's how do you get the team to a certain point.
To get things running.
Yeah.
Actually, now in your experience, do you find that in the organizations that you join as a generalist, that you're first somewhat, they just tolerate you until, do you feel like you have to prove yourself as so much more than a specialist would?
Yeah.
Because of, the approach that you come and take. Like me, I'm just here to steer the team and ensure that this one and this one come together and get the work done. Yeah. Is that something that is appreciated in the workspace and in the...
So that depends with your fast com skills, relationship skills. So I'm a people person. So when I'm coming to a new place, you have to get to know the people, because the people, if you can't coordinate the people, even if you have the best people, the guys will never get to do what they're meant to do. So of course for me, it's always, I'm a likable person. So that usually kind of helps because I can relate to people. If I'm a newbie, I'm not going to be there like a newbie. I can come talk to guys as if I've known them for a while. So I think that also helps in breaking the ice, understanding how people work as well. People are different, so you need to know which lines can I cross with this guy, who is more reliable at some certain points, how do I need to handle X kind of person. So once you figure that out, then it becomes easy to get it going. Yeah.
Okay. But I know generalists tend to sometimes feel like they'll... What advice would you give to someone looking to pursue being a generalist? And also given that you might feel like it's like you're lacking direction. It's like, because you want to touch on this, and then after some time you're like, oh yeah, I want to touch on something else.
Yeah.
So sometimes there might not be like a clear path as to where you're headed. So how do you structure around
that?
being a generalist?
I don't think, I feel like journalists is that a bad PR thing? Because journalists have direction. They do have direction.
I actually think
even
generalists...
specialists pivot and keep switching jobs. We see
Yes.
that in tech, especially, engineers have 2 to 3 jobs.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a kind of a lack of direction. I think you have to look at first who you are as a person.
Yeah.
What are your skill set that you have inbred in you that you think you can thrive? So that's what I'm saying. For me, I came to realize after I tell you that former boss of mine pointed some things out, I got to know myself. And I realized, sometimes, even like tech, right? You become a software engineer. When you grow, you stop coding. So for me, it was like, so either way, the path is still to become a generalist.
Yeah.
If you're going to grow up and rise up and what, because it will demand a different set of skills. So I was like, why not learn that earlier and then grow and meet that where also I would not have to do something technical. Of course, for me also, you're looking at the effort. So being a technical person is not easy. You have to be sharp. You have to be... Yeah, it's a lot of work. So I was like, I have to do something for me which is very easy for me to do flawlessly. And also that skill as a generalist is very rare as well. That's why you find leaders, you'll have a big team and then leadership, right? Just because it's a very rare skill as well. So go for your passions, you pursue who you are, as I mentioned. And I think that should set you up on a good path.
Okay.
And you can always switch in between, because the specialists who then become generalists.
And that's the
beauty. And
beauty.
you can always go back to being so I could even say generalists are almost like specialists now, because you specialize in being a generalist.
I once had this this joke that people who are called inconsistent are technically consistent.
Exactly.
At being inconsistent. So you're essentially a specialist in generalism. Essentially. Yeah. And that actually carries with itself a myriad of
I think there's a quote that says like, is it a jack of all trades is better?
Is a master of none, but more often than not.
Yeah, they're better than something
better
one.
Than
there's a quote like that. So
yes.
Yeah, as I'm saying, it's more of a survival kind of instinct. You need to also be able to move around, because also you pick a lot, right? And it helps. I think it really helps. You become more knowledgeable. You see a lot. You start seeing that things correlate. Like something that applies here definitely applies on this other side.
Yeah.
So that's why it helps you to thrive in different ecosystems, just because the principles are more or less the same.
Okay. And even as we are wrapping up, from a strategy perspective, because I know generalists tend to have, and I'm one of them actually, we tend to have what I call different tabs open in our minds, because we are working on different projects, and sometimes they're vastly different in different industries. You're doing different things at the same time.
True.
So how can we set up structures that will help you run all of them and not get, okay, well, burnout is inevitable at one point or the other, but what structures would support you to ensure that all these different things that you're working on all actually move forward and all.
Yeah. So I think people also have a tendency to want to do everything, which doesn't
Generalists
work.
especially.
No, generalists are good at delegation. Remember, I said what we offer is leadership. So you find that the generalists would delegate a lot of the work. What you're doing is coordinating them. So that frees you up time. Of course, what now that gives you is a 360 view of course, what's happening and how you to move things around. So I think that would what will set you apart. Delegate, don't do all of the work. Work with people who are smarter than you. Most people want to be the smartest in the room, but honestly, you need to work with the A because that's how you also become good, right? Or become the best at your craft. Something else is understanding what's your goal.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? How do you learn to say no? Because sometimes there's always good ideas, there are good ways to do things, but then if you focus on everything, you lose your mission, right? So it's always good to have one focus, and then until that one thing pops, and you can feel like it can stand on itself, then you can try now do other things.
Okay.
But of course, it's having that one vision, one goal, understanding this is what we're trying to do, and then working backwards.
Okay. And just the last one. I know you work with startups a lot,
Yes.
and a huge chunk of my audiences are young people who are trying to build from the ground up.
Yeah.
And like you said, startups fail every day in Africa, literally. And sometimes I can even tell you a sentiment that my mom was telling me yesterday. She was like, Daisy, I feel like you put in so much effort for your work, and sometimes the results can be difficult to see. So what would you say to young people who are building from the ground up and are trying to set up everything? Sometimes you find even ecosystems by themselves don't exist. So you have to do the actual job and still figure out a way of setting up the ecosystem. You know? So what advice would you have for these audiences?
So I'd always say try as much to get exposed, because before you even end up realizing that there's so much you have to build an ecosystem, you're already too far in, right? So one of the key things, of course, having mentors, people who have gone the path beyond you, who can advise you. And sometimes you need to also take that advice, because sometimes people feel like my first idea is what will be successful.
Yeah.
And then when someone is like, well, maybe you might need to change, because most successful founders have pivoted very many times.
Multiple times, yeah.
Even as your business grows, it will demand your product to evolve as well. So you find that, people fall in love with the idea, but as I'm saying, data helps you to then understand, okay, this thing, people don't want it, I need to switch to the next thing or something closer to what they want. You need a lot of capital. Most people will say, I can, of course, start with where you are, but also capital is very key, because you need to meet operations. So you need to understand, okay, how then am I going to? So how you find the chances, a lot of people also are in employment just because it takes a lot of time for businesses to pop.
Yeah.
And also you need to be able to survive. Like, it's hard to even to be creative if you're hungry. So you need to find a way to understand, okay, there's nothing wrong with, working as you work on your dreams, or being employed and working on your dreams. So, and I feel like that's usually shunned, right? Like, I'm a seller, what am I doing this? So, but it's very good to have that. You still have a life, you're a human, and you're not who you are or what you're doing. So I'd say that another thing is figure out how the math, numbers don't lie. So you need to be able to track expenses, where is money coming in, how will I make money, for every shilling I'm making, how much is going to cost. Like, your numbers, you need to know your business inside out. We like to do a lot of maths, what we call textbook math. So someone tells you, hey, you can make easily at this business. If you just make, so let me think about business. Like, Smoky, imagine this place, 1 million people pass here. All of them, if 20% just buy these smokies, then I'll make an amount. So you find that those are very theoretical stuff. So do your research, understand your niche, do marketing as well. And I think you should be successful. But also embrace failure. Honestly, people fail every day, not just entrepreneurs, even employees fail every day, or people who are working. So use that as a lesson. I think, honestly, for me, anytime I fail, I'm usually happy, because that's how you learn a lot of the lessons than when you're winning. When you're winning, you have this ego, you think you're the person who knows, and then you end up now making decisions that are faulty. I think those are the few I can come up top of mind.
Okay, thank you, Dom. And what is next for LWKY, and also for Dominic as a PM?
As a PM.
Yeah.
So for LWKY, so we shot 2 music videos this year. hopefully want to drop them. As I'm saying, we're trying to expand internationally.
Yay.
The good thing about music is that it transcends everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's the goal this year, hopefully. And then for me as a person, still preaching the gospel of tech, of course. And tech works in different ways. I think most people always think of tech as software, but
Yes.
it's still hardware. There's still innovation. Innovation doesn't have to always be tech. It's just how do you do something differently. Strategy, and of course, just rooting for us is Kenyans, Africans, and globally. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on set. I know we have planned this for
Too long, but yeah.
too long, but it's finally happened. And I can't wait to see what the future holds for LWKY and for you as well. And thank you to my audiences for staying up until the end of this conversation. Please tell us what you've picked from this. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comment section. And if they were to find you, where would audiences find you?
Audiences find me. So LinkedIn, Dominic Kimathi. For my production company, it's LWKY.studio, all socials and YouTube as well.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Dom. Thank you to you too, and I'll see you on the next episode of Growing Out Loud. Bye.